We typically view this text as a historical artifact, a static record of past events and ancient laws. Within these pages, the text operates as an executable map. It functions as a set of coordinates designed to process reality as firmware. To run this system, we must identify a baseline error in our observation of reality. At coordinate 1785, the text isolates a hidden variable, inaccessible to human operators, the Rūḥ, or the underlying command layer. Without access to this unseen frequency, the observer relies entirely on visible data. The fluid wave of reality collapses into isolated, disconnected particles of assumption. Tracking only these visible, historical particles leads to a breakdown in logic. The observer is forced into a state of inevitable failure. This reliance on visible metrics creates the Taghūt trap. Because the observer cannot see the hidden variable, they measure only what they can touch, constructing massive hierarchies of power based on physical evidence. The ultimate expression of this dominion appears in rigid, vertical monuments. They project absolute control over the physical world. The system encodes this illusion at coordinate 3414, represented by the Staff of Solomon. It is a vertical pillar projecting authority over everything within its shadow. This diagram reveals a hidden decay function. A termite eats the pillar's base. Subjects continue obeying, unaware an expanding void has replaced their foundation. When the staff breaks, the structure dissolves, revealing the entities holding the weight operated in blindness. Their support already vanished. Any governance model or lineage claiming authority without the hidden variable is merely a hollow projection. It is a structure waiting for its own inevitable failure. Replacing the vertical staff is a precise algorithmic structure, the 2327 execution map. The first node represents the initial split. Here, cause and effect bifurcate based on the operator's internal orientation. Surrender to the unseen variable creates a straight path toward inheritance. Jealousy and assumption create a divergent path, forging false idols. This moves execution to the formation phase. The system introduces a pure informational node into a chaotic environment. Because the surrounding field can only compute physical data, it projects biological constraints onto this node. It demands a biological father for a birth, or attacks the integrity of the node with false accusations. The human observer defaults to imposing biological limits onto abstract informational purity. To preserve the node, the system must now apply a filter. The second 2 acts as a strict informational filter, severing the noisy connections projected by the environment. Coordinate 818 identifies a signal buried in the ground, the girl buried alive. A corrupted assembly eliminates what it cannot categorize. But in this architecture, that rejected truth is recovered to become the foundational seed of the next sequence. Coordinate 3340 then provides a specific terminal, stating that the prophet is not the father of any man. This locks the gate on biological father chains as a source of authority. By cutting the requirement for a biological successor, the system shifts inheritance to a new protocol. Lineage is determined by execution topology. Whoever operates the firmware correctly inherits the network. This purge of biological pride prevents human tribalism from corrupting the core logic of the system. Running this firmware requires the execution of a master command. Coordinate 1912 provides the directive, take the book with strength. This acts as a system-level BIOS call. It installs a protocol protecting the operator from interference. Under this protocol, the brittle, vertical pillar of false authority shatters into thousands of fragments. In its place, coordinate 2180 deploys the Chainmail of Dawud. This interlocking topological graph ensures that when force strikes one node, the energy distributes across the entire web without breaking a single link. Because every node is interlocked with the others, the system has no single point of failure. Directed attacks cannot penetrate the mesh. Survival relies on this decentralized, interlocking network of truth rather than a brittle, centralized hierarchy. This brings us to Node 7, the return. The distributed network finally converges back to its origin. This presents a specific challenge. How does the architecture protect its central, unknown variable from being observed and corrupted by the user? The Sierpiński triangle illustrates the solution. Encoded in the parables of the cave and the scattered birds, the center is removed. The pattern is fragmented and distributed across the field. Yet, the total informational identity of the original structure is held within the resulting negative space. The central variable is structured by these voids. It remains shielded and inaccessible to human conjecture. When the sequence completes, the map folds into a continuous circuit. Ignorance breeds assumption, the filter severs it, the chainmail distributes the load, and the geometric void preserves the core. Every coordinate maps to a specific conservation law. Each action meets a corresponding reaction, ensuring the loop remains in a state of perfect structural equilibrium. A closed circuit produces no work while sitting idle. This architecture demands an operator to execute the code. The firmware is functional, the map is drawn, but reality will not execute until you